Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Ready to go back to 1981? Well, here we go. The last release we played was the Asteroid Field for the Apple II, and we're now playing all the releases released at some point in 1981, going in alphabetical order. So after the Asteroid Field, let's see what is next. We're now going to see, all right, Bally Astrocade. If you forgot about that one, here we go. We get to play Astro Battle with the latest ad, or what you'd see in 1981 for the Astrocade.
Bally Arcade, a new video computer system that gives you more than Atari or Intellivision.
Really?
Arcade gives you 4-player capability and an incredible 256 colors. Arcade has features the others don't. A built-in music synthesizer, 3 built-in games, a calculator, and Bally Basic, making the arcade a personal home computer. Whoa. Arcade doesn't just play games. Bally
Arcade doesn't just play games, but we're going to use it mostly for games here on Chronologically Gaming. Kind of shows you what the market was like. This is another one of the saturations of consoles that's taking place in 1981. Which one's the better system? Which one should you buy? And everybody's pushing for which computer and which console. And here we go. This is Bally's attempt to try to get people to buy this one. We're going to check out Astro Battle. So let's take a look at the box for Astro Battle, the Bally Videocade cartridge. Astro Battle 2009, which is just the number they designated for it. It's not the title of it. Invaders from space are attacking your home planet. Oh no, they're going to make another story up for Space Invaders. If you thought we saw the last of all Space Invaders clones, oh no, there's a lot coming. You command a battery of missile bases hidden in protected bunkers, entering various skill levels from novice to professional. Very interesting. So we won't see, I won't read the whole story for that one. Let's see if we have any other artwork for Astro Battle. Is Astro Battle forgettable is the question. There's the example of the cartridge for the Videocade or Astrocade, depending on which model, because different regions had different names for it. We always call it Astrocade here, but it can go either way. And we have a manual. That's awesome. So here we go. Bally Videocade 2009. If Bally looks similar to something you've seen before, maybe you've heard of the Bally Total Fitness. Yeah, after video games flopped, then Bally said, all right, we're just going to get people in shape instead of playing video games. After this, how do you play? You insert the Videocade into your unit and press the reset button to get the game selection on your TV screen. Astro Battle is a one-player game. They just advertised it's 4 players, and we've seen other 4-player games for the Astrocade. No Astro Battle, not 1 player. Then we get to different skill levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then they call it the hand control, not a joystick, because the Bally had a very small knob at the top of its controller that you wiggled around. The object of Astro Battle is to score as many points as you possibly can by eliminating the invaders before they descend through your protective bunkers. I don't think we need to read the instructions because it just sounds like Space Invaders. But there's the manual for you. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so let's see what it's like. Let's pop in Astro Battle. Released at some point in 1981 for the Bally Astrocade or Videocade. There we go. So right off the bat, you always have gunfight, checkmate, calculator, and scribbling. That's part of the console. It's built in. So we push number 1 for Astro Battle, and we are professionals here. We played tons of Space Invaders clones, so we're going professional. Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks pretty good. The colors do look really nice. And professional is moving fast. I do like to play the harder difficulties just to see how quickly it can get the game to run. And this looks pretty good. Plays good, too. Control for the Astrocade is good when it came out. Nowadays, the controller at the top, since it's analog, it doesn't respond as well. They kind of wear pretty quick, but you can see how easily and quickly I can maneuver around. They're giving me really good controls. Feels good. Let's see if we can get through a whole wave of Astro Battle. We played so many clones of Space Invaders. Come on, oh, and he already got me at the top. Is it 3 lives? Yeah, 3 lives and game over. So that is it. That's all you have for options. Just a level of difficulty, and that's it for this one. Let's go one more time through just to see. Yeah, so they got different ones. Let's do novice just to see. But just consider we played this last year on the Atari 2600. And that one had so many options of over 100 different variations of ways you could play, including 2-player. This is 1 player only. This almost feels like we're playing a release on a computer that someone made themselves. When you consider every other game for the time, at least. I don't know, Bally. They're kind of late to the party, is the way to put it, because we've already had the killer app on the Atari VCS, and that was Space Invaders, but now it's... Space Invaders really isn't the cool kid in town. Space Invaders, Galaga would be the new kid in town, but that's really new at this point. Gotta lead the shot, get it in there. The barriers keep getting in the way. Yes! Nice, we did it! We are professional! Alright, so Astro Battle, considering everything else we played for the time, it's still about average for what you'd see, and plays really well. Colors do look fantastic, plays good. Because of the different game modes, though, I'm going to go 2.5 stars, which is around the average range, but just not as good. Yeah, well, the baseball, is a little different. Sports weren't as good, and television had the best sports games for the time. Alright, so that was Astro Battle. Let's see what our next release is after the Bally Astrocade. All right, we're going to check out the latest issue of the Atari Connection. And this is the winter issue, the end of 81, beginning of 82. So this is what you'd see near the end of the year. And we already saw another magazine that we showcased before. This one's pretty cool, but I wouldn't say as cool as the games magazine that covers everything. This one's strictly just Atari and mostly Atari Computer. But here we go, the Atari Connection, Volume 1, Number 4. This is winter of 81 and in between 81 and 82, since we're rounding out the end of the year. What's happening here on the cover of the magazine? Dad doesn't look fully into it. Mom, though, man, Mom is really into that computer. That Atari computer is awesome. They're playing with the Atari 400, the one with the chiclet keys, and it looks like the kid's clapping his hands. I don't know what's happening in that scene. All right, so let's skip through the table of contents because we're going to be hitting up everything in the magazine. The first section, this is an article about just bringing the history of coming home with computers. And they talk about the ENIAC, which was a mainframe computer back in, I think they say 60s. They don't say it here, but they talk about the original ENIAC computer and how we went from the large-scale mainframe computers that took up rooms to the personal computer, and how Atari is leading the way, of course, since it's the magazine by Atari, right? Atari recognizes the needs of the home user. And so the whole beginning article is just talking about how, raving about Atari. If you look down here in the bottom right corner, you see that there's some people playing, kids playing the Atari computer. I can't make out what game they're playing. But that would be more me, just hanging out in the living room. Oh, 40s, sounds about right, yeah. All right, so we scroll a little bit further down, and you see in the top left, we have some people playing music to your Atari computer. There's the Atari 800. And then, wow, Grandma. Okay, Grandma's doing stuff on the Atari computer. I would say not likely at this point. Most of them would run and hide because I know my parents weren't into computers. Not going to happen. Oh, here we go. There's an example of the ENIAC. Nice. ENIAC, world's first electronic computer, weighed 30 tons, used 18,500 vacuum tubes, and occupied a room 30 by 50 feet. And enough room to set up housekeeping plus an Atari home computer. So fun fact, not my dad, but my dad's dad, my grandfather, this is what he did. He was a computer debugger in the early 1900s. And so this was his job, or one of the jobs, at least I was told he did. And if he could see me now, I don't know if he'd be proud or not. And then we have another family down here at the bottom left playing on their computer. Looks like, what's the baby doing there? The baby's playing on the computer too, I guess. All right, so we scroll down. They're going to explain some of the new products they have for Atari. The Atari Pilot with Turtle Graphics, which they've talked about this in the other magazines. It's programming languages and aids for the Atari Pilot. Pilot just means it's an easier way to draw and make graphics on your Atari computer. Has you write things like interactive fairy tales and word games. And they just give you these cute little animations. This is the mascot of the Atari home computer right now. This guy and his turtle. We've been seeing lots of pictures of him. There you go, the turtle. They're explaining how to use the pen to draw and create graphics. And so Atari Pilot really never caught on. It wasn't as big. It wasn't the system seller for the Atari home computer. So it requires 16K of RAM and estimated December of 81. So we should already have it at this point, rounding out all the releases in 81. Next, it goes into an article about the Atari word processor. We kind of breeze through these. word processing, anything application-wise. Not really going to hit on those. But then here's a leaflet on subscribing to the Atari Connection. Subscribe now and don't miss out. This one is popular, like the other Atari magazine analog, until about 84, 85 because of the crash in North America. All right, so we keep going down. We will subscribe until you don't make any more magazines. And then this is an example of the computer household and what all you can do with a computer. Like setting up your computer to do books and learning, magazines, data management system. And if you look right above my head, right there, it says, even 5-year-old Jeremy uses an Atari computer to keep track of his toys. Jeremy, why are you using a computer to keep track of your toys? I don't know. Maybe I would have done that at the time. But you can see here, they're showing a typical household in 1981. Look at the wood paneling. That is the way my house looked for sure. And the television set. This actually looks like, if you've ever been to the Video Game Museum in Dallas, Texas, this is the setup they have for Dallas for the video games in the 70s and 80s. It looks exactly like this. Same couch and television. All right, next article is really interesting. It's about the Minnesota Education Computing Consortium. And if you're not familiar with that, you might be familiar with MECC. MECC is the company that brought us eventually Oregon Trail. And so this is an article talking about how in Minnesota, they're wanting to up the education for kids with computers and give computers or use computers in the school system. So kind of a cool overview of educational software and titles coming to the Apple computer, or sorry, I said Apple during the Atari magazine, but getting the education for the Atari computer, and it's kind of a cool preview for what MECC is doing now and where they are going to go from there. Yeah, that's true. Great fun fact. All right, so let's move on to our next article. The Atari Institute for Educational Action Research. And this is more up our alley for games and game connections. So they have examples of using education for programming and teaching this to people that are actually use it for video games and applications. They have an example there of the director of the Atari Institute. Kind of cool to go to school or college or an institute for that at the time. In 1981, it blows my mind. So for more education, they have classes at the Capitol Children's Museum. And then this article is just about, again, education, using the computer to give the kids more information about the computer, how to program and use it. So the very first game I ever played myself was in kindergarten. And I do not remember if it was an Apple II or an Atari computer. Because at the time, kindergarten, I don't have the memory of what I was playing. I know it was something educational that I was selecting, but of all the games and all the things I've been collecting for this channel, that is the one game I don't know what it is, or I'm not sure, just because my memory is kind of shot. But I do know in kindergarten, I was playing an educational game. And this is kind of the beginning of putting all these computers in schools that kids can play and get used to the computer. Really, really fun stuff. If you look over here on the right side, this article is about the computer birthday party, where they use the computer to sing happy birthday. And if you were a gaming nerd like me, I would think it would be cool, but send in a clown or a magician or something. Don't use an Atari computer for a kid's birthday. Come on. Oh, grade 7 with a pet, 1979. Okay, so you do remember the system, because I've now worked with so many different computers and systems, models, and I'm very familiar with all the different models, but for the life of me, I don't have the memory of what the computer was in front of me at kindergarten, because I didn't really see I only saw the keyboard. I didn't see the computer itself. Who knows, maybe someday I'll see it checking out educational titles. All right, the next one, we have a review of Caverns of Mars, which we haven't seen yet on the channel. We should see at some point in 1981. This one is about a video game that you navigate down through a cavern, picking up fuel and so forth. It's not really a shooter game, but it's a combination of action and flight. Pretty fun. Oh, that's awesome. Maybe it was a Commodore pet. See, now I'm thinking maybe it was a Commodore instead of a Atari or Apple. Who knows? All right, so we scroll past the article on Caverns of Mars, which we will see soon. Then the next parts they have is Kid Bits, which they give you some puzzles. So this is a number game you can play. And then they have some comics, because it's meant to be the educational magazine for the whole family. And then they have a kids section here. And then they even included a calendar for 1982, which we will be getting to eventually. I don't know how long. It looked like there's a lot of titles we have for 1981. But here we go. Just a fun calendar that you can use for 1982. And then they have the next one, which is a program puzzle. 2 different programs. And this one is a... is this the one where you have to get the bugs out? No, okay, so this one's an actual program that you can type in and play on your Atari computer. Down here is, for kids, it's called Find the Bug. So in the magazine, they're giving you lines of code, and then they're having the kids say, okay, where's the bug or the problem in it? And then they show examples of, what a bug is. You could get mad and unplug the computer after they typed a 200-line program, but your friendship would be destroyed for sure. A better solution would be to debug the program. Debugging a program means to check each line for any mistakes, type the following program into your computer, and run it. There's a bug in the program, and it will crash. And this is mailing in if you find out the answer, if you can fix the bug. So if anyone wants to take a screenshot, you can fix the bug and send it in to Atari. Next we have for entertainment, they're going to talk about the artist guide to painting using the Atari computer. This is a lot of cool information. At the time, if you wanted to be able to put in graphics and color to your Atari computer, it's explaining all the different poke commands, and then how do you do different colors on the Atari computer. Really cool stuff there. So again, kind of geared toward kids, but it's meant to be an educational tool. And then we have another one, which I think this is interesting because this is a program we might see later on the channel called Holiday Picks or Holiday Volume 1 or 2. I can't remember. It looks kind of like this. But this is a way that you can decorate a Christmas tree using your Atari computer. They're giving you examples of how to do it. Really cool stuff for kids, educational stuff. And then this one is article that's talking about the Bay Area Marine Institute. Using the computer in C, and you can see this guy right here aboard a ship using an Atari computer. How about that? Cool. Oh, that's even better. Nice picture of while on the ship. And then the next section we're going to breeze by. It's more business professional stuff using the Atari computer for business. And then we have a few other articles for business. And then we have this one is... This is them playing Star Raiders on a planetarium dome. So you can see they projected the game Star Raiders, an excellent game for the Atari home computer, on a planetarium dome. So pretty cool, especially for the time if you loved Atari Raiders. It's one of my top games for 1979, I think is when we first saw it. And then this is another one of seeing commands that you would type in and then what would display after you put that in your computer. And then they have some book reviews for conversational basics. And then the last thing I wanted to hit on, this one here is the using the computer for music. And this is kind of a precursor to what the next big line of computers by Atari, the Atari ST. It is so big with music. And this is kind of a precursor to that, using the Atari computer. And these are musicians that are using the computer to make the sounds in their songs. And then we have more fun games than the answers. And then this is the last section I wanted to show everyone. This is the Atari gift collection for the end of 81, or what they say would be the best gifts for people to have. And they're giving examples of everything and their prices. So check it out. We got the Atari 800 with the full-size keyboard. And then we have key rings, Atari, look at that, Atari clock. Is that a digital clock? And then, computers for people, books. It's just kind of a funny little image of what people would have expected to buy for other computer enthusiasts at the time in 81. We're now beginning, we're beyond the hobbyist and the kit builders of computers. We're now getting the consumers to be into computers, and it's very exciting times, and it's just going to get faster and faster and faster. So that was the winter issue of the Atari Connection. We don't rate magazines, so we'll just move on to our next game. Where we're going after the Atari Connection. All right, we're still at home. We're going to play on our TI-99 4A, and this is The Attack. So again, apologies to all the TI-99 fans. We missed some releases back in 80, and we're just going to make up everything and catch everything up here in 81. So as we close out 81, if you see a game and think, that should have been the year before, this is going to be all of the other TI-99s that we missed. The Attack is one of them. Let's take a look at the box for The Attack. There it is. Oh, nice. We even have the prices on the outside stickers. I love it when we get real scans to look at. what the TI-99 did for the box is they put a sleeve with a manual. The attack that we see is actually the manual inside, and then the outside is the casing of the box. Application programs, problem solving, they kind of do this similar to the IBM games. They really don't look like games. They look like applications instead of fun stuff. Let's see what other images we have for the attack. There's our cartridge and screenshot, and I think that's it. That's all we got. And then for the for the manual, for the very first time, we have a homebrew manual, not the original manual, all in text. So what is the attack? I'm expecting a Space Invaders clone again. The attack is a report that outer space is being overrun by aliens been verified. You, equipped with 10 ships and your skill as a commander, are assigned to rid the cosmos of these menaces. Activate all systems. Texas Instruments brings you The Attack, solid-state software command module developed by Milton Bradley Company. And don't be surprised, Milton Bradley did a lot of titles for the TI-99. This one player 4 skill level game. One player again, that's strange. We played lots of multiplayer games on the TI-99. You maneuver your ship through space with the arrow keys. When you're ready to fire, press the enter or fire button on the handheld controllers. Every time you successfully attack a spore or alien, you score points. Object of the game is to score as many points as possible by... Of course it is. We got it. We got to score as many points as possible. It's 1981, man. The game ends when the aliens deplete your ship supply. So to activate all systems, you select the module, title screen appears. As a commander, it's necessary for you to check all systems prior. Press aid, okay, to display the vital information. Let me pull it up on my side. And then you move around, fire missiles, incubator, spore, alien, restart. So you're supposed to destroy everybody before resources run out. Okay, I want to see what kind of gameplay they use for this. So we may refer back to the manual if we need to. This is going to be cartridge. Love cartridges on home computers. We're going to play The Attack. Released at some point in 1981 for the TI-99 4A. All right, so right off the bat, press any key, and then press 2 for The Attack. Oh, we got some music. Nice. Oh, and it's also on the Coco. Nice. This is great. It's like an arcade attract mode is doing for us. So it's playing. I'm not playing right now. It's just playing itself. Kind of explaining how the game works. The manual didn't show us what all the numbers mean. But here we go. Press any key to begin. And then what skill level do we want? We are professionals here. We never played this one before, but we'll do level 4. Oh, we have aid, though. Aid is, there we go, move ship, fire missiles. You get 0 points for that, 50 points for that, 100 points for the big ship, and then restart is redo, reselect is back. Got it. All right, let's go, professional. Cool with the music, though. If you want to call this song, but we'll get anything we can at this point, right? All right, so it's building the level for me. Might be random every single time. Okay, so now I'm picking up on the blue ship in the middle. Yep, and I can move around and attack. The numbers counting down, I don't know if that's... Are they sucking the fuel supplies away? But I think we just have to destroy everything in the vicinity, like this over here. Now, the TI-99 controller is kind of a clunky controller, but these controls are clunky. I'm moving tile at a time. It's not very smooth to move around. And you have to direct your ship and then make the movement. Almost like tank controls, so it feels weird as a spaceship to have tank controls. Plus, whose idea was it to... we got a big one. Oh man, that one moves so fast. Compared to my controls... Oh man, they're going all over the place. Well, we did pick professional, but see, let's see if we can get a good shot in there. Wow, yeah, the movement is like you move to the side and you have to wait a sec, and then you can move to the next spot after that. So it's not a very smooth control experience. Yeah, and even firing. I'm pushing the button as fast as I can, but looks like we're going to get run over by the aliens. Maybe if I hunker down in the corner, we can use some kind of strategy. We brought this upon ourselves, though, using professional mode. And you can see there's a slight pause whenever I shoot and kill someone, and then the screen pauses a sec. All right, I think this might do it. Let's see if we can do it from the So the countdown is when the larger aliens show up, and then once they show up, then they start to come after you. I have one shot before I can use another one. I'm totally playing it as camping out now. The attack. It's working for the most part. It looks like they're just swarming in to get me. But you can see how the sound effects work great, sound great, but they're masking over the music and the thumping in the background. Oh no, I didn't think about that one. I forgot about the one next to me. Oh, okay, I got it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I tried to move away to see if it would work. Alright, does it restart me? Oh man, bad spot though. Let's see if they all come at me. They are. It reminds me of Space Invaders. How there's so many enemies on the screen and they slowly come at you because we've overloaded the memory on the system. Look at that. So slowly coming, but they finally get me, and it shows I still have a number of ships left that I can play as. But trying to do that thumping in the background, it doesn't really mesh well with the rest of the game. Yeah, ooh, slow to respond. Usually we get something better from the TI-99, but maybe we should play Novice first, and then go harder and harder and harder. But there you go, that was The Attack. So considering everything else we played on the home computer, it's interesting. I don't want to say it's not necessarily bad. It does work and it is playable, but it's not really pushing anything or doing anything better than we've seen before. So I'm going to do 2.5 stars for The Attack. I really don't want to say 2 because that's our bad range. I wouldn't say it's bad. It is not a bad game, but it is not really doing anything particularly special. So we'll do 2.5 stars for The Attack. All right, so with that, let's see what our next release is after the TI-99 4A. Okay, we're going back to the Atari home computer, and this is Attank. Not to be confused with Attack. Just like we see with the other APX releases, look at the box. It looks like we're buying software to do word processing instead of a video game. But it's Attank by Joel Gluck. Way to go, Joel. User-written software. Even sounds boring. We have any other artwork for it? Nope, just the screenshot of Attank. Any other versions? Yep, we got one on cassette and 2 versions on basic. Let's check it out on cassette first. So released at some point in 1981, this is Attank for the Atari home computer. After checking out Atari Connection, we've been more in educational world in the magazine, but now we want to play some video games. I know there was a lot of releases that came out for the Atari that were educational, but honestly, the other systems we've seen, Atari and the Apple II and the TI-99, there was way more educational titles that we haven't showcased because most of the time we breeze by or don't even have educational titles. APX presents Attank by Joel Gluck. Whoa, I think that's the very first time ever on the channel we've heard arpeggios with increasing volume to introduce a game. I think that's the very first time we've heard something start quiet and work its way up loud. Welcome to Attank. Choose the following options by typing numerical keys only. To bounce back to a prior option, press the space bar. Not really intuitive on that one. Yeah, that's true. I love the comment on the APX or Atari Program Exchange. All right, so let's do we'll do select options. Let's see what that does. Okay, so we got the Great Equalizer. Winning tanks have smaller shell range. Let's do no. Initial hits. Oh, so you get to change how the tank works. Initial hits can sustain normal or separate. Do you want initial hits to be... Okay, so let's do 20, just for fun. And then maximum distance a tank shell will travel. Let's do maximum. Let's go all the way. And then play at night. All is invisible except tanks, bullets, and explosions. So let's do no, we will not play at night. And then we have tunnels. You have 4 tunnels are connected to one another. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let's do pairs. And then we have bombings. Random bombings that cause random destruction. Do we want bombings? Sure. And then type 1 to begin. Here we go. All right, we're playing Attank for the Atari home computer. We always say we're playing for the 800 because our parents shelled out a lot more money on this one. All right, we're in. We're playing a tank. So right off the bat, I am playing as first player. I can move, looks like one tank here in the bottom right, tile-based. It's not a smooth experience like combat for the Atari. And then if I want to fire, I push back to fire a shot. Nice, I can blow up trees, rocks. And then if I use the button, oh, interesting. If I hold down the only button, because I'm playing on the Atari controller, if I hold the button down, I can control the second tank and then shoot and control the second tank. When I release that, now I'm controlling the other tank. So you're essentially controlling two at once. And since the other tanks aren't moving, I bet you need 2 players. I'm plugging in a second Atari controller now. And yes, so no artificial intelligence, but a 2-player game where you're having to control 2 different sets of tanks. Kind of a cool way to play the game. Haven't seen 2 at the same time, unless you want to consider that really bad volleyball game that we controlled two players at the same time, but it was not executed well at all. So for control-wise, it's a little clunky. Not as smooth as we're used to. Uh-oh, bombing happened. Wow, the flashing. Oh man, it just blew everything up. So the bombing that I said to play in the game worked for the player 2's favor. It just bombed the heck out of me. Oh, that's cool. Blue wins. With a final score. Oh, okay, that's really nice. They're ending the level with this cool like presentation at the end. Do we want to play again? Sure, we'll play one more time. Same options. Let's say no, and what happens? Oh, more flashing. Yes. All right, welcome to Attank. Let's do normal options this time. So we want instant play. So it'll just do the default options. So probably no bombing this time. I don't have anybody with me tonight, but if I did, this would be a great 2-player game to strategize. Nice, and it rebuilt new levels for us. Okay, so the idea is there. The idea is cool. To play with the tanks, though, it's a lot smoother to play on Combat, which came out in '77. So I would say that the tanks don't control as well, but the idea is pretty nifty. You can see how whenever I move around, it's only 45-degree angles. Let's see, do we get points? Yeah, okay, you get points for it. And then how many shots does it take to knock this guy out? There's 2, 3, and is it? Yeah, he's just moving one spot. Oh, I see. You almost have lives. So in the top of the screen, it's how many shots you have left before you're totally wiped out. So I got 6 left. Let's see if it does the same for this. And we have different way. You can see that this looks like water that you can't pass through. And then any of the trees or rocks I can't move through, I have to shoot my way through those. I really like the animation. Look at the fire catching on the trees. Oh, that's a nice touch. Chain connecting through the fire mode. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's 10 for each tank, and then once you do that, then you win, and it probably calculates points. That's pretty nice. Okay, so wasn't expecting anything too much from that, but actually pleasantly surprised. So for a tank, while it doesn't control as well, the idea is pretty cool, especially when you play with 2 people and you have to use 2 tanks at the same time. So is it average for the time? I would say yes. I would say it's average. I even say it's slightly above average for the way that it implemented structures we haven't seen before. So let's do 3.5 stars for a tank. It's usually hit or miss with APX. There we go, yes. All right, so after a tank, let's see what our next release is. We're playing every game release in 1981 in alphabetical order. And we're next on, yes, we're going to the CreatiVision. And a very obscure home console, available first in Hong Kong and parts of Asia, and then released in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. So this is Auto Chase, released in 1981. We'll be playing the one released in Asia, at least at this time in 1981. So let's take a look at the box for Auto Chase. If you're not used to the name CreatiVision, it went by lots of names. So if you see the game and you're like, oh, I remember this game or I played this game, it may have been called the same name but on a different system. So there we go, Auto Chase. Nice artwork they did on this one. This is the Vtech CreatiVision that we'll be playing on. And there's the back of the box. You can see an example of the system down at the bottom. And then Auto Chase looks like a top-down driving game, like Rally X. CreatiVision was really unique because if you look at the console in the bottom left, it has the same number pad like in television, but it's a whole keyboard. Look, you put 2 joysticks down and it's an entire keyboard to use as a computer. And we've seen a few systems do that. When the home computer world and the console world sometimes blend together in this generation of video games. I'm very glad that the Coleco Atom, whenever it comes out as a computer, it comes out as a computer and not as this hybrid kind of mode we've seen. All right, so what other artwork do we have for Auto Chase? There's our front and the back of the box, and there's our overlay. So whenever you first played the game, you had to slide this over to play. And I'm going to get up my notes here because every single system has something different that might happen. Looks like we have the smoke trails. That's got to be Rally X then. And there's the example of the cartridge for the CreatiVision. All right, we have a manual too. That's always good. All right, so this is the CreatiVision manual for Auto Chase, the cartridge instructions. You're in for the race of your life with CreatiVision's Auto Race. You drive the getaway car. On holiday in evil dictatorship country, you're contacted by the freedom fighters and asked to drive vital cash to reserves to the free world. But first you have to drive around the city and pick up the money bags. Unfortunately, the evil secret police have been notified and are out in force to stop you. Who knew in 1981 we'd be playing a game where we're freedom fighters in an evil dictatorship country? The treacherous secret police are out to get you at all costs, and they marked cars will try to collide with you and bring you to a halt. Your weapon is to pick up as much money as possible and make the freedom fighters equip your getaway car with special poison gas. Nice. Rally X didn't have poison gas. It was just smoke. So if the secret police get too close, you can leave a trail of poison gas in front of them, which will go off on the road. Car trouble. The freedom fighters provided a total of 3 getaway cars. If you lose them, it's 3 lives, game over. You have to watch your fuel gauge. If you're in trouble, try getting to the fueling station when you think your fuel's getting too low. And for dangerous roads, you're driving around the suburbs of a large city, but even here there's danger. Once in a while, you'll come across a large puddle of water. If you hit one of these, your car will go out of control and you'll lose the car. First time we've ever seen a video game slide out of control while driving over something. Wait. Head On, did it have that feature? I can't, no, there was another version of Head On that did have the slip up feature. So there's 10 bags of money. You got to pick all those up. After you get all the money, then automatically get moved to the next neighborhood. All right, so start your engines. How do you play? There it is. You take the overlay, you slide it over your controller for the CreatiVision. Insert one of the enclosed driving grids into each hand control as shown in the diagram. One of the reasons I like to see manuals and read the manuals is I want to know what they said at that time instead of us, because in my language, I would explain this as, hey, there's an overlay on the joystick, but that's how they described the driving grid in the hand control, shown as the diagram there. Love it. All right, so how do you play? How do you use your smoke screen? Using the filling station, and then, okay, so we have different game modes. It's very similar to Intellivision. So whenever you boot up the CreatiVision, it's picking the game modes, like Atari too, and you pick the game modes and then you reset. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different game modes that you can play on this one. So we'll go back to the manual and try a few of the game modes out for this one. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so just an alternate version of it. All right, first time we're ever checking out Auto Race for the CreatiVision, released at some point in 1981. Whoa. Whoa. It is Rally X, and wow, is it Rally X. This is incredible. We have music playing the entire time, like in the arcade. It is a multi-scrolling game, and like we saw with the last CreatiVision game, it really reminds me of the graphics on the Atari, or on the ColecoVision. But we haven't seen that yet. ColecoVision is released next year. Wow, now this is the attract mode. It's playing it like an arcade. And so what you do first is you reset the console, then you decide what game mode you want to play, and you can see on the top, I'm selecting which 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you know what I didn't see in the manual was if it lets you play 2-player, because there are 2 controllers plugged in. Let's see if it has anything for 2-player. It does. There's a 2-player mode. It's got to be alternating though. Let's plug 2 controllers in just to see. We'll try a 1-player mode, high-speed chase, suicide speed chase, and then high-speed chase with lots of secret police. Money bags are invisible. Oh gosh, we won't do game 3. Let's try game 2 with Suicide. So again, switching through, so game 2, and then you have to use your hand controller, and then you push start on the hand controller to play. Wow. Oh my gosh, so it's Suicide is I guess how fast we're going. But look at the top, there's a radar. It's showing me where all the money bags are and where the enemies are. Where's my smoke? There's my poison smoke. Okay, it looks like Suicide's like the... Oh, I can't go through bushes, I guess. Suicide must be the hard mode. And we got the fueling station. It doesn't show that on the map. Alright, let's see if we can get around here. So we don't know where all the barriers are. There's one more. I missed that one. But the music, the sound is fantastic. I'm going to crash because I want to get back to game mode 1. Because Suicide is super fast. Is there a reset? Okay, so let's reset and let's go game mode. So you see there's 1 player and 2 player. Oh, I went to game mode 1. 7, 8, 1, and then here we go. So this is the first game mode of Auto Chase. Okay, that seems more like the speed we're looking for. Where's the smoke? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so fuel gauge is in the top right. And this is incredible. This is a home version of Rally X in 1981. Now, granted, we're playing games all over the world, and so this was available first in Asia. Hong Kong, I believe, was the very first iteration of it, and then it got copied and brought in different places in Europe. I think Australia and New Zealand were next, and then Europe was after that. But, I mean, look at this. It's scrolling in all directions as if we're playing Rally X at home. That is amazing. And we even have the little ditty in the background. This is top-notch, considering a home video game release that you could play, especially on a console. So we went from game mode 2 to 1. 2 jacks up the speed so fast. The joystick feels like I'm playing a 4-way joystick, so it's not super smooth. Let's see if it still works for us to travel up here. And now I want to know how many maps they've made, or how many neighborhoods we get to go through to play. Oh, you know what they're doing? The music is like Dig Dug, which we haven't seen yet. The music is only playing when I move. So look, I'm not moving. As soon as I move, it makes the music happen. So the song that's playing is doing little bits as soon as I move. Now, I could fault the controls for not being as smooth as the arcade, but I really can't, because this is the very first time you could have played Rally X at home in this capacity, with a map at the top, and all the scrolling features. It's crazy. Yeah, so you can see it's a 4-way joystick, and it feels a little clunky to control, but I could say this is probably one of the best games we played on the home console thus far. And especially if you love Rally X. Wow. Auto Chase. So there you go. It moves to the next one. Let's go ahead and reset, and let's try a 2-player mode. So let's go to 5. I want to see what happens when we do 2 players. So doing a start on this one. Let's see how this runs with... it's got to be alternating, right? So here's the first player driving around, and then I crashed. Does it go to 2nd player now? It is. So it is alternating play, but you have now... I did the exact same thing. You have a 2-player mode, and it's just like the arcade. You alternate play back and forth. They didn't change the car color, though. That's interesting. But, I mean, look at that. The radar at the top telling you where everybody is and where the money bags are. It's great. So we play some games that control a little bit better, but I'm amazed at the music, the color, and what they were able to accomplish. So let's check again the other game modes just to see if there's anything else we want to see before we move on. Let's see, we have 2 players, which is like the Getaway. 2 players play alternate. Let's see, so except 2 players play one after another, separate scores. Okay, so everything's alternate play, and it looks like it's just doing the exact same thing So let's try 2 players. Let's do the game mode 8. It's suicide speeds with secret police, invisible money bags, and it's almost impossible to survive, is how the the manual describes it. All right, so let's reset. Going game mode 8, and then we're doing this all on the hand controller. So make sure you have your overlay so you know which button to push, because almost every game is different. Here we go, pushing start, and we're playing suicide mode on auto chase. Okay, money bags are invisible, but the radar, they show up. But look at the scroll speeds. This is insane. Oh, wow. And then 2-player takes over, so now I'm putting the 2nd player controller in my hand, and then they go next. Same color car for some reason. Where's my smoke screen? There it is. It shows up a little late on suicide mode. Wow. Oh, I missed it. So it's somewhere here, and they're coming for me now. So you can't see them on the screen, but you can see the money bags on the radar. Whoa. Who knew? I feel like this is something we should be playing next year. All right, that is awesome. So that is Auto Chase for the CreatiVision, and that one is going to be 5 stars. Of every other game we played up to this point on the channel, that is top tier, one of the best games you could play for a home console. Considering all the other games we played up to this point, it still is 2nd generation-ish, you know, like ColecoVision level, but it's not... it's doing something that we haven't seen on any other console. It's got the radar happening. It's got the multiple scrolling. Look how fast it was scrolling. It's got the color. It's got the music. The only thing that would be a slight tip against it is the control isn't super smooth. We played other games that have a little bit better control. But for everything else, that is incredible. So 5-star game right there for Auto Chase. All right, let's see where we're going after Auto Chase. What is our next game? All right, we're going back to the Atari home computer. And this is Avalanche. So for everybody that remembers Kaboom more than Avalanche, Avalanche was first by Atari in the arcades. And then Activision comes out and makes Kaboom, which is essentially the same thing. But we haven't seen Atari do their take of Avalanche at home. So this is the first time we played the actual Avalanche, which is the falling, catching the falling blocks. All right, let's take a look at the box for Avalanche by APX. So they must have given the rights for them to use this because it is only available in the arcades by Dennis Coble. Way to go, Dennis. We have another artwork for Avalanche. Oh, an alternate box. 2 different ones. Absorb the falling rocks with your shields. Yeah, they call this the entertainment one. There's our cassette for Avalanche. An example of the screenshot looks just like the arcade. That's really fascinating because the arcade one we played in the 70s. And so this is the first time we're able to play the legit Avalanche port home. So we got 2 different versions. We're going to check out the first one. Here we go. Released at some point in 1981. This is Avalanche, released for your Atari home computer. Oh, and that's right. I got to plug in paddle. So let me back out of this one and do a different one, because this one is played with the paddle control. There we go. So if it looks familiar, everyone probably would say, oh, it's Kaboom. Without all the flashiness, it looks exactly like Avalanche for the arcade. Oh, that's true. Well, the arcade had overlays in color. So it was black and white, but they used the plexiglass overlay for color. All right, here we go. Let's check out Avalanche by Atari. Oh, yeah, the trackball. Oh, man, it's so nice. That paddle control, you're using the same paddle control that you could use on the Atari VCS for your home computer. Oh, man, it reminds me of something you play on a mobile phone nowadays, because it's... Oh, well, they're already going fast. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Now, the arcade did not do that. It didn't have everything getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Is there a reset? Oh, it's doing player 2. I don't want to do player 2. I just want to player 1. Oh, it goes back and remembers what we left off. That's awesome. So I didn't have the second player paddle plugged in, so they just immediately lost. But if you get in Kaboom vibes, it's true. Activision took the idea and said, let's make a whole new game, have a bomber dropping bombs. And it's cool that Atari was able to do kind of a, let's release Avalanche, just like we did in the arcades. And here we go, you can play it on your Atari home computer in '81. Oh, man. No way. It kind of gives me vibes of playing a Breakout or a Pong clone, and we kind of saw that in the arcades, but that was the 70s. Now it's 81, and, well, it does play really well. Oh, gosh, the flashing. Apologies for everybody sensitive to the flashing. Here we go, we're doing bonus play. Oh, man. You really got to be prepared. That's like pro level. Is 2-player going to go? No. So don't have a second player plugged in with a paddle so that they just immediately lose. Then we go back to 1 player. Do they get to go? No, and that would be the game over. But that's pretty cool. I'd give it to Kaboom for the presentation. It's essentially the same idea, but Kaboom does look a little bit better and plays the same with the paddle controls. So for the time, it's about average, considering everything else you'd see. And we gave Kaboom around the same area. I think we did 3.5, somewhere around this area. But it's still pretty average for everything else you'd see at the time. So I'm going to do 3 stars for Avalanche. Lots of fun. 2-player alternating fun on your home computer for Atari. Nice. All right, let's see what our next game is after Avalanche. We're going to another home computer. So now we're on the VIC-20, the new VIC-20, and this is Avenger, or Vic Avenger. Let's take a look at the box for Vic Avenger. VIC-20, the friendly computer, no accessories required, plugs directly into your VIC-20. That's right. Works with or without a joystick. Great arcade style, defend against the starbase of swarms of alien intruders. Wait a second. Is this another Space Invaders clone? Let's take a look at the artwork for Vic Avenger. Oh yeah, Space Invaders clone. There's the example of the cartridge that you plug in or pop into your Atari, your VIC-20. And we have a manual for this one too. Nice, there it is, Avenger. How do we play Avenger? First, read all instructions carefully. Check you have the following correct procedure for setting up the VIC and inserting in this cartridge. Once you plug in the cartridge, turn it on, the center picture comes up, and then your objective is, just like in the arcade, space creatures are trying to take over the Earth. Your objective is to destroy all aliens with a laser cannon before they succeed in landing. How do you start the game? You push F1 on your keyboard. How do you use the laser cannon? Oh, you can use keyboard play or joystick play. Nice. Is there 2 different? Oh, okay, it's just moving left and right. And then it explains the point system for all the aliens, and then anything different. No, it's explaining exactly what we know for a Space Invaders clone. For different versions, we have just the cartridge version. Here we go. Let's pop it into our VIC-20 and play some Avenger, released at some point in 1981. All right, so, oh, boots right up. Gotta love those cartridges. So they give us the point values, and I can't stress this enough. At this time, there wasn't a lot of video games that you were engaged in playing months and months at a time, unless you were an adventure game fan, because then you would want to go back and see what the story is and the lore and so forth. But any other games were big on score. And so we've seen on operator manuals for arcade, we've seen them for manuals on console and on computer. They always have a score breakdown. So if anyone that was a serious gamer now, the serious gamers were the ones playing action games like this, and they would want to know the points, how many points they're going to get, how to maximize their point score, and then tell everybody, I got such and such points on Avenger for the VIC-20. Let's see if you had other friends with the VIC-20. All right, so here we go. Pushing F1 to start. And I didn't say joystick. Let's see if it's plugged in. Yes, okay, so we have a joystick. And it is exactly like Space Invaders. Usually we have something that's close. Or, look at that. It even has this is a almost 1-to-1 ratio of the original Space Invaders in the arcade. The arcade original was black and white with color overlay. But they're kind of simulating the same idea here. It plays the same. It's very similar to that. Oh yeah, Taito should be suing their ass off right now because this is just like Space Invaders. Or maybe that's too old. Space Invaders was 78, so I mean, how many years is it going to go by before Taito even cares? But we've seen lots and lots of clones of arcade games coming to the home computer. That's another reason I wanted to showcase home computers on this channel. There's so much that console lovers do not see. And this is one of the reasons why. You're not going to see this many clones like Gobbler for Apple II as a Pac-Man clone unless you do the home computers. Oh, they got me. They destroyed Earth. Game over. This is fantastic. For all of the Space Invader games we've played, this one looks and plays so close to the original arcade. It's fantastic. You know what? We even read the pro way to play this. You're supposed to take out all the far left and all the far right first. We read the magazine. We know the pros tips. Oh, and then go for the UFO in the middle after that? Oh, see, I just walked right into that one. But they even matched the explosion when you die. It looks exactly the same as the original Space Invaders. Sound effects are a little different, but they're playing to the VIC-20 sound chip really well. And we even have the thump heartbeat in the background. One of the shots I can barely make out, it's like a laser that's happening in the background. That shot looked like it went right through him. Game over. So cool. All right, and there we go. We're going to turn into... Hey, there it is. Just like in the commercial. We're going to turn into the guy that's playing the Goldfish video game because he's too much into video games in 1981. All right, so for the time, it's still about average because considering we've seen Galaxian games you could play on the home computer, we haven't seen anything straight up Galaga yet. It's too new, but we've seen Galaxian already, so it's still about average. Because it's Space Invaders, though, it's still not... I really can't give it anything more than, I'll say 2.5 stars. So Avenger is getting the job done, a really cool and port of playing Space Invaders, but it's still about average for everything else we've seen up to this point. All right, and with that, we're going to put our video game playing on pause. We're in 1981 playing all the releases at some point in 1981 in alphabetical order, and we're still on the A's. Lots more games to come, lots more games to play. We don't know what's going to happen next or where we'll go next, but it'll be a lot of fun. We'll see you then. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.